Everything isn't always what it seems. As the glow bleeds out from the day and nightfall influences the dimming world around us, something unseen emerges from its place of rest. It shapes us. It molds us. It changes us. Music is a lot like nightfall after a long day. It relieves a stress, soothes a pain, and alters the environment around it. Music is so powerful it can isolate you from everything, good, bad, or otherwise. But this is not an examination of what music is. That question has already been answered. This is a tale about what a musician is, because while they each share common qualities and creative proclivities, the constant motion of a musician's essence is built on a quivering foundation of dramatic extremes, and the reality of this fact can be beautiful and disturbing. Musicians have a sound in their head, and they have to get it out. Some won't stop. Others can't stop. There are struggles, as you'd imagine. The turning tide between bringing ideas to life for the sake of art, contrasted by the wish to impress peers and audiences, is a notion that pushes a musician to their wits' end on a daily basis. Few have found a perfect balance between these two driving forces, and most fight an internal battle that's been waged since the first musical frequency rattled their eardrums, affecting not only the type of musician they'll grow into, but the person they'll become. In order to understand what goes into this creative process, it's important to know that there is no one-size-fits-all approach. The path from 0 to 1, ideation to realization, is often the most difficult piece of the puzzle, as concepts don't always come easy. While some need nurturing, a majority of creative ideas need to be clawed, pried, or ripped from the mind, which takes an incremental toll on a musician's mental welfare after each new manifestation. The music-making method can happen at any pace. It keeps its talents dug into a musician's guts until it feels safe enough to enter the real world. This results in a final product that few musicians will admit is the best they could have done. During the act of composition, the acclaim a dear piece of music will receive is often a guiding light in how rhythm, harmony, and melody develop and come together, whether a musician will admit this or not. Validation is an endless craving, and satiation never lasts long. And yet, while musicians are inherently selfish creatures, most reflect the polar opposite demeanor in everyday life. Musicians have to be selfish, though, and not in an all-for-me, none-for-you way either. The truth is, an ego is an imperative possession to a long-lasting career as a musician, and occasional blind self-confidence is what pulls them through dark times of discouragement and justifies decisions that lead them to continue creating. The size of the ego, large or small, can sometimes be detrimental, but in the literal sense, there is no such thing as a completely humble musician. Interaction between musicians is fascinating and can be summed up in one word: fellowship. Imagine you were lost in a foreign country with no money and nowhere to go. You didn't speak the language and nobody could understand you. Then you meet a fellow countryman and are provided all the accommodations and luxuries you could ever ask or need. Most importantly, you'd be able to talk to them in your own language without any barriers. That's kind of how it feels when musicians get together. A mutual understanding that's not only refreshing, it's personal. But the coin has two sides. This camaraderie can sometimes be the source of competition and even jealousy. While most musicians don't concern themselves with malicious ill will, one's achievement can often be another's aspiration. This truth is compounded when the sounds in a musician's head are scrutinized by not only their peers, but the public eye as well. The nerves that result from a yearning for vindication from an audience is perhaps the reason most musicians give up or alter their dreams. But don't cry for musicians. The sequence is cyclical. Back and forth and around they go, clinging to creativity and leaning on passion at each bend. The rough patches of disappointment and intimidation are far outweighed by their undeniable love of music. The pandemonium fortress music creates is second to no feeling in the universe. And you don't have to be a musician to feel it. You just have to listen.